Ciryl Gane is 0-2 in title fights, and yet he's next in line? Meanwhile, Alexander Volkov is dominating the division and still waiting for his first shot. Why is no one talking about this? Today on MMA Thread, we're breaking down why Volkov, not Gane, should be fighting Tom Aspinall for the undisputed title. Alexander Volkov has quietly built one of the most consistent resumes in the UFC heavyweight division. Since joining the UFC in 2016, he's remained a fixture in the top 15 and is currently ranked number 2 in the world. Over the past few years, he's taken on some of the division's toughest names and has emerged victorious in 4 of his last 5 fights, with his only loss coming in a controversial decision to Ciryl Gane. Volkov's recent wins are not just over lower-tier opponents. They're over high-caliber, ranked fighters. He knocked out Jairzinho Rozenstruik, steamrolled Alexander Romanov, dismantled Tai Tuivasa in just minutes, and most notably, dominated Sergey Pavlovich, the same man who fought Tom Aspinall for the interim title in 2023. That win over Pavlovich is especially significant, as it showed Volkov can still hang with the most dangerous power punchers in the division. What makes his case even stronger is the circumstances around his recent loss to Ciryl Gane at UFC 310. It was a razor-close split decision, and many fans and analysts scored the fight for Volkov. UFC CEO Dana White even publicly apologized to him afterward, saying the UFC would try to make it right. That kind of statement from Dana is rare and proves that the UFC sees Volkov as someone who's been wronged and deserves another big opportunity. Add to that the fact that Volkov is the only fighter in the current top 5 heavyweight rankings who hasn't fought for a UFC title, and you get a compelling case. He stayed active, fought elite names, won big fights, and never got a shot. At this stage of his career, with the division entering a new era under Aspinall, there may not be a better or fairer time for Volkov to finally get his title opportunity. If you think Volkov deserves a shot, hit that like button and drop a comment below with #VolkovTime. Let's make the UFC hear us. And don't forget to subscribe to MMA Thread. We drop 3 UFC updates every single day. While Ciryl Gane is an elite talent with undeniable skill, the reality is that he has already had 2 opportunities to become the undisputed UFC heavyweight champion, and he came up short both times. Gane first fought for the undisputed title against Francis Ngannou at UFC 270 after an impressive undefeated run. He entered that fight as a favorite due to his movement and striking, but when the fight hit the championship rounds, Ngannou exposed Gane's weaknesses in wrestling and grappling. Gane was out-wrestled and outmaneuvered, ultimately losing a clear, unanimous decision. His second shot came against Jon Jones for the vacant title at UFC 285. This time, it wasn't just a loss, it was a domination. Gane was submitted by Jones in just 2 minutes and 4 seconds of the first round. In that brief fight, Gane looked overwhelmed, especially once it hit the mat, and offered little resistance. That performance led to serious doubts about his ability to compete at the highest level of the division when it truly matters. Although Gane bounced back with a solid win over Sergey Spivak and a controversial decision over Volkov, these victories don't erase the fact that when given chances on the biggest stage, he failed to deliver. Compared to Volkov, who has never been given a title shot, it seems unfair to give Gane a third opportunity without forcing him to go through another top contender or solve the grappling issues that cost him in the past. There's no question that Gane is a marketable, exciting fighter, but UFC title shots should be earned, not gifted based on popularity or potential. Giving him another chance so soon sets a bad precedent and dismisses fighters like Volkov who have done everything right, stayed active, and fought through the ranks with no shortcuts. A rematch between Tom Aspinall and Alexander Volkov offers more than just rankings-based legitimacy. It brings a built-in narrative that's both compelling and easy to promote. The two first met in March 2022 when Aspinall finished Volkov in the first round with a flawless performance. It was a breakout moment for Aspinall, cementing him as a serious title contender. But since then, both men have changed, and the version of Volkov that Aspinall beat is not the same Volkov we see today. Following that loss, Volkov made major adjustments to his fighting style. He became more aggressive, improved his takedown defense, and began finishing top-tier opponents with precision and power. His dominant wins over Pavlovich, Rosenstruck, and Tuivasa show that he's evolved into a far more dangerous version of himself, a true threat even to those who have beaten him before. That evolution makes the rematch feel fresh and competitive. It's not a rerun. It's a test to see if Aspinall can still impose his will on a reinvented veteran. For Aspinall, it's a chance to prove that his first win over Volkov wasn't a case of good timing or style mismatch. For Volkov, it's a chance to avenge the biggest loss of his UFC career and finally claim the title he's been chasing for nearly a decade. From a promotional standpoint, the UFC has a strong foundation to build on. A redemption arc, a dominant champion defending against a resurgent veteran, and the added drama of Volkov possibly being the last title-worthy contender of his era to get a shot. The rematch writes itself. And with Aspinall looking to be an active champion, this is the perfect time to book it. Do you agree that Volkov's being overlooked? Or do you think Gane deserves another chance? Let us know in the comments. And if you're all about UFC drama, previews, and fight breakdowns, subscribe to MMA Thread now. New videos 3 times a day, every day.